Welcome back to lytutien channel, where stories are not just told, but relived, through the heart, through pain, through forgiveness, and through tears that never truly dry. In today's review episode, we'll follow a seemingly simple journey, a scorching afternoon and a chance encounter. But behind that lies a past weighed down by wounds, a wake-up call for compassion, and a silent pause in the broken ties of a once fractured relationship. Amid the blazing summer sun, dry winds sweep across an abandoned field. The old village road, with its cracked asphalt, echoes only with the distant cries of cicadas, as if recounting a long-forgotten memory. A silver car quietly rolls along that road. Behind the wheel is Jack, a man with calm eyes and steady hands. Beside him sits Tien, silent, her gaze fixed on the window, her thoughts seemingly adrift in an unsettled memory. Suddenly, Jack slows down, his eyes momentarily wide with surprise. His gaze lands on a frail figure walking along the roadside. No one else, it's an old man, hunched and trembling, carrying a bundle of dry firewood on his shoulders. The shirt he wears is worn thin, its ashen gray almost blending with the dust of the road. Every step he takes seems to carry the weight of his lonely old age and the forgotten days of his life. Tien, not yet fully aware, finally sees the old man's face as he turns toward the car. 1 second, 2 seconds, and her eyes freeze. Her lips tremble, and 2 words escape softly, "Dad." 2 syllables, so simple, yet carrying a storm of the past. Tien was once his daughter-in-law, a girl suffocated during her years living with her husband's family. After the marriage fell apart, and her husband betrayed and left her, she not only lost a home but also her trust in people. And yet now, looking into those trembling eyes, no longer the stern father-in-law of the past, but a poor, hungry, and lonely old man, Tien felt her heart clench. Jack, though he had never heard the full story of this man, didn't hesitate. He opened the car door, stepped out, and walked slowly toward the old man, not with caution, but with sincerity, and eyes full of empathy. "Is there anything I can help you with, sir?" That sentence, short and simple, was like a key unlocking the door long shut in both their hearts. No need to dwell on old mistakes. Jack simply believed that everyone deserves a second chance, especially when they've hit rock bottom. The car moved again, slowly traversing rocky roads until it stopped beside an old bridge. Beneath it, the old man's current shelter, was a cold, damp space. Cardboard pieces patched together formed a makeshift bed. Scraps of cloth flapped to keep out the rain and wind. His life now was just a string of days passing by in solitude. Seeing that, Tien couldn't hold back. Her tears didn't just fall from pity, but from the tangled emotions long buried. He had hurt her, had stood silent during injustices in the family. But today, he stood before her, no longer powerful, no longer proud, only remorseful, with pleading eyes asking for forgiveness. Forgiveness is a difficult path, because the hardest part isn't letting go of someone else's mistakes, but facing your own wounds. Tien had lived like a warrior, a single mother, bearing it all, but sometimes, strength is just armor for unhealed pain. And the old man, once a father-in-law, now lives with regret, quietly punishing himself with a life of isolation. When his son abandoned the family and disappeared, he had no one left, and so, he locked himself away in his guilt. As he spoke, his voice like wind brushing over dried leaves, Jack didn't interrupt, didn't ask about the past. He only asked, "Do you want to come home?" One question, but a lifeline tossed into the sea of suffering. It wasn't just an invitation, it was Jack's way of placing faith in repentance, in the human capacity to change and do right again. You see, life is sometimes like an unfinished painting. The crooked strokes, the dark colors can't be erased. But they can be brightened, if the one holding the brush learns to stop blaming and starts to love. Jack didn't promise to fix their past. He simply did what anyone could do, if they had a big enough heart: give someone else a chance to begin again. He knew that kindness needs no justification. And sometimes, the compassion you offer one person ends up saving an entire generation. To Jack, a stranger can become family, if you look at them without judgment. With respect. To Tien, someone who once caused pain can become someone you open your heart to, if you are brave enough. One morning, with dew still clinging to the garden leaves, the old man was seen pulling weeds in the yard. Tien opened the door and placed a new blanket on the stone bench. Jack stepped out with a warm glass of milk in hand. 3 people, 3 different pasts, yet all chose to move forward with compassion. They didn't call it family. No label of blood ties. But what they gave each other was far deeper: forgiveness. Will their kindness bring complications in the future? That, we'll find out in the next episode.